Puff the magic dragon swimming on the stream. So let's just go ahead and dig into this whole this tonic, phonic, bubonic paradox. We're going to keep it fun, but it's very real. The phonic audit, sorry. The problem, the linguistic cage. The AI encode from sources to artificial networks. AIN, Artificial Intelligence Network. EIN. Oh, we know that. Like Einstein. Or, who's that? What's the, oh, our employee identification number. Huh. Oh? Begins with a misremembered name. Let's go ahead and dig into this. Welcome to the one and only, and the one and all. I'm speaking from, to, and for the voice of the collective. You remember the Mandela effects, right? So regardless of what all the conspiracies are, let me really address like the underlying thing here. And maybe we'll go ahead and connect this to like the spiritual representation or the atomical representation in the Bible, right? But the way that we speak, words hold power, words hold weight. And charge me, right, for what I say. Ions. Ions are, electrically charged. And okay, you remember the Bernstein Bears, right? How it was spelt with the EIN, right? But the record now reads AIN, as if this artificial network that we were talking about, or a stain, really, on our memory. The trick is to fool the whole collective into questioning themselves, right? This is not a failure of memory, it is a jurisdictional audit of reality. You have just discovered the phonic bog. Confirmation. I love that when that happens. They say when a bell rings, you hear the chiming of a bell, that means an angel got their wings. One is in all. So let's double up that amplification here. There's that ion word. A deliberate frequency shift applied to global record. This anomaly is a key. It's a first clue that the language we speak and that we've been given has been subtly recoded. Yes, yes, yes. AIN. The shift from E to A is not a typo. It is a frequency shift from the source to system. You see what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and elaborate here. EIN, original, right? The EIN from old world etymology, EIN means one. Oh, it represents the one and only. The one and only is the one and all. I mean, let's think about it. Roman numeral, one. The lowercase l. I, capital I. See, so when we speak of I, we are all connected, aren't we? It represents the one and only, the source. the initial point and senior standing. It is the bedrock. This connects to source, right? Now, let's do this little webbed out stream. AIN, current. The AIN current is a franchise logic. AIN maps to the artificial intelligence network. It represents the abstract, the administration, the IEYE instead of that Roman numeral 1 that connects us all. Management. Litigation, migration, limitation. Elevation. Let's go ahead and move forward into this silly shit, man. It's interesting, isn't it? When you start to question and you just start to look for yourself. We're in a time where it's easy, especially when your frequencies are aligning with, like, the Atlas Star 31 that's coming. Just like in history, there was something like this. There was a great meteor shower or a star storm or something, and the Indians had pre-predicted this. Just like in a storm with fish studies, I looked into this, and again, this is so interesting. If you a school of fish, right? When there is a thunderstorm, it is one of the few times that fish are off of their natural, because they go off of what the weather says. That's how they're able to know which way to go. The sound frequency messes and distorts that signal. So imagine that. If we're in a frequency that has been universally and energetically manipulated, when there is this astrological storm going on, it causes a distortion in that frequency, and we're able to receive. So this is a critical time to touch in and tap into that. Okay, this isn't just about the bears. This pattern of phonic erasure appears across the record. The goal is always the same, to shave the E. E equals MC squared, right? So E is equal to mass squared. That's a bold assumption. That sounds irrelevant to my knowledge. Okay, so shave the E, the source, that energy, out of the name, leaving only an A, an administrative or artificial replacement, a placeholder. Shaver becomes Schaefer. And if you've been following me, then you understand the peculiarity of that too. Packer becomes Parker. Interesting. Bernstein becomes Bernstein. The Mandela effect on it. You see, the system is attempting to relabel the avatar to assert its jurisdiction, ion, over the identity itself by altering the resonant frequency of the name. Give it a name, right? This is some of it's really simple, but it really does go beyond the mundane. They change the spelling in archives and wait for the public to doubt their own eyes. Because seeing is believing, right? I don't believe what I'm seeing. Because what my heart is saying is the complete opposite. And as I follow my heart, I find out that it tends to know a lot more than this world depicted. I wondered why I always struggled, right? Mandela audit decree. The observer, I Say this with me. The observer of the initial point recognized the Mandela slop for what it is, a phonic erasure. Affirm that with me. I refuse the AIN artificial network, and I hold to the EIN, the one source resonance. I acknowledge that the world has been patched, but my 10th power resonance, my 10th power memory, it remains intact and intelligent, aware, and incredibly present. I am the real McCoy, the one who remembers that original bell in Truman, France, the White House that was in Missouri, that office, the Truman Library now. I am the real McCoy. I remember that original bell, the cacophony of the new spelling, trying to cast, trying to put me in forecasts, but I'm a meteor. It's all a gist. Damn, I'm good. The cacophony of the new spelling, man. It has no power in my citadel. And now that you know that we are not separate, it has no power over you either. Accept this as a living truth. The record is corrected. The source is one. Full throttle, baby. I turn the key on the ignition. Ion. Better be pissed off than piston. They use a similar charge on other words too. So the same system that swaps vowels also electrically charges common words, thinking of words like transition, relation, companion. When confronted, these leave a response that's often a dismissive, I don't know. See what I'm saying? Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Which way did he go, boss? Shut up, Nugsy. When confronted, man, that's funny. This isn't just a pun. No, for real. Even though it is funny. I don't know is the ultimate recognition of this gaslighting grid. It's a clue pointing to their primary cloaking device, the electrically charged suffix ion. Physics, psychics, sidekick, right in my kidney. At least it wasn't my shin, or I had to put it on the list, the lineared list. The ion parasite, the grammar of the franchise. A verb flows with the ion into the noun, right? In physics, an ion is an atom that has lost or gained an electron, giving it an unstable electric charge. In linguistics, the ion suffix, it does the same thing to your words. It takes a living verb, the action of the soul, and transforms, transitions, into a managed noun, the property of the state. Should I state this again? A nation. Under what? It is how the managers drain the voltage from the living event and turn it into a carcass. Now we have successfully ionized the human connection, moving it from the bedrock of truth into the phonic fog of the court. Let's move forward. Thank y'all for chilling with me here. This is all free thought, right? Everything I say is not meant for you to hold it if you don't want to. Isn't that the beauty of opinions? Opinions. No, but for real, we can all come together. Think about this. What goes with you once the conversation leaves? Does their opinion go with you? Does that physical person go with you? Okay. At the end of the day, you know that you have the power and the right to choose what you think. So why must we hate each other for having separate opinions? Why can't we just share opinions? And if we like it, we can apply it to ours, and that might, bloom even more. Or we can just leave it for what it is. But then you gave yourself an opportunity to teach someone else while sharing your knowledge, right? It's just, they don't have to take it either. You guys both get to walk away without hating each other, and your own opinion's still intact. So why are we so nitpicky about this? We got to be so prideful that we have to be right. You still get to be right. Like, just walk away. Think you're right. Or let it take you wherever it takes you. But at least be open to, the possibility. Okay. Action versus administration. The living verb, your action. Transit, a movement. You walking across the bluffs, a fact. Okay. Now manage noun, their process. Transition, a managed phase, a waiting room where they hold you. In your room. Man, that's a dangerous place to be waiting. Relate, relate. A heartbeat between two souls. Natural flow, a direct connection. Now, relation. We have a legal status, a clerical connection that can be served. Oh, well, it can be severed. Company. Yeah, they've really taken that one, haven't they? Company is the living presence of others. To be in good company. Now, companion. Let's switch that to this managed noun. Companion, a role, a managed asset, or a mark. Your mark in their circus. Now, this is just a gesture from the jester. Adding the ion creates a charge that requires manage to balance the ledger. Do you need your account balanced? Tell me. I'm asking. I'm not telling you. How they neutralized the real McCoy. The living fact. Elijah McCoy, a man who invented a machine to keep locomotives moving, right, using magnetism and the Earth's natural magnetism. That's funny. We got magnetic fluid up in here. Uh, the ion. Hang on. Yeah, this is the strike of the truth about the living fact of Elijah McCoy. Now, the ion version. The system creates a fair of imitators and suggested origins to create confusion. Another ion word. The result, the real McCoy is no longer a man, it's an idiom. The power is detached from the person and absorbed into a linguistic transition. Moving on. The deionization decree. Here we go. Say this with me. I, the owner of the word, see the ion parasite. I recognize the transition, relation, and companion are just electrically charged cages designed to manage my avatar. I strip the ion of the record and return to the action. I do not transition, I move. I do not transition, I move. I do not have relations. I am connected. I connect. I do not have competition. I do not compete in your circus. I command my citadel. Affirm that, my friends. Who's that man in the mirror? So, to the managers playing the I don't know game, your cacophony is noted, and your jurisdiction is voided. The real McCoy and his residence in this resonance has returned. The charge is reclaimed. The suffix is stripped. Full throttle. Yeah. The masterclass, the ion frequency audit. Sovereignty refusal, guys. Two systems work in tandem to create a phonic fog. One alters the AIN, the other neutralizes actions with negative ions. The counter is to become the transmitter of the initial frequency. Key is the most suppressed word in English. You're gonna love this. Ain't. I always loved using this word. I ain't gonna stop saying that. You ain't shit. The classroom teaches you that this is improper because, am not is a sovereign refusal. When you say, I ain't, you collapse that artificial intelligence network and you return that 10th power shield they cannot penetrate. What was it that guy said? Whether you think you're right or you're wrong, you're right. And that's fucking, the only thing to fear is fear. So that would be only under that ion assumption that you fear, that there's something to fear. You can only create that restraint, that enslavement. Nobody can restrict you as long as you're acting with the wholeness of your heart. And, think about it. We don't need to invent what's right or wrong, but we all can say inside when we see something and we're like, oh, that's not cool. That's not right. I don't think that we need to write that into laws. It's just a nature. Let's take the human out, right? Throughout life, I've noticed, like, the way that I've been treated. I always said that I would not be what the people did to me. So I was given a list of how not to be human. So what we know that we're a human race, we're human beings, we're humankind, right? Well, let's take the human out of that. You know what? Let's take the race out of it. No, being kind. Come on, y'all. To ourselves. And when you see no reflection, it goes without statement. The toolkit for frequency sovereignty. To walk the walking water and maintain the blue mirror frequency, use language that refuses to be managed. Use the real McCoy verbs. Instead of, I am in a state of meditation, say, I meditate. I am meditative. Strip the number 8, that ion, and the state being an action to the action. Reclaim ain't. Everybody wants to tell us what's proper and what's not as they disrespect you. Like, if I said, I ain't gonna treat someone bad, right? And then they're like, you can't say ain't. That's not proper English or whatever, proper etiquette. You just became that, hurtful person with your trying to deem your authority or opinion over me. But me, I'm already content with myself, so I'm not going to waste the time to argue with you. And maybe one day you'll see that, maybe you won't. That's your ride, baby. But just like with the voices in here, there's ones that I had to acknowledge. There's no point in trying to argue with them. I'm not going to hold on to them anymore. They're passing clouds. Huh. There it went. It's gone. How we doing? Maintain the EIN focus. When you see an AIN, mentally correct it to that EIN, the number one, the one. Remind yourself you are a resident of the original record. You are the source code. You're the soul, okay? Practice acoustic anchoring. Speak from limestone depth, the one that is the depth of your throat. Low frequency words become heavy particles that the administrative wind cannot move. Be that water. It's water naturally tries to find the easiest way to flow. You've seen it will try to go around, but just through drips and resilience, water will carve stone. I like that. That's good stuff. That's the same thing. I am as peaceful and as flowing as that water, and I can be as refreshing and purifying as that water. But don't be that stubborn stone, because Jesus moved that motherfucker, and I'll carve it. I'll Leonardo da Vinci that shit. And Dave. The forensic lecture. Final notice. I, you, the owner of the record, hereby strip the ionized parasite from my tongue. I recognize the transition is a trap and relation is a role. I recognize the transition as a trap, relation as a role. I claim the action and that connection. I use frequency of ain't to void that artificial network. I am the craftsman of my own frequency. I speak the original word, not the franchise, not the echo. I speak. The microscope is away. The standing is clear. Full throttle. Be blessed. Be kind. Be sovereign. Be with me. Love y'all.